Hey, folks! So, we're finally here for the paper review for December. This will probably be posted tomorrow, which will make it the last video of the year and the month, so we got it out on time, technically.
Yeah.
And we decided to watch SummerSlam 2000. Now, you might be asking, why are you watching SummerSlam 2000 when TLC was the latest pay-per-view? Because I decided to go back to watch the first ever tables, ladders, and chairs match, which took place at SummerSlam 2000. It's also good for us, since SummerSlam is the first pay-per-view we ever did predictions for.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, so it works out. So it was all on purpose.
Yeah.
So
I'll start. This was a lot of fun. This was a really good show. This is probably my favorite of the things we've done for this show. It's like, what? I was, like, when I was thinking about what I wanted to say, before we started, I wanted to say there were no bad matches, but then there was one bad non-match thing.
You wanted a women's match.
That's not what I wanted.
This was the Attitude Era.
Curse you, monkey's paw!
This was WWF Attitude, where women were treated like objects. I mean, 18-year-old me really liked that.
Okay, if we're gonna be perverts, the China and Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus. It's a surprisingly hard name to say.
Yeah, it is.
But both Lita and Trish, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just get that out of my system.
Yeah.
But one, that was an actual fucking match. Two, there was a story there. Three, I mean, I guess we're already out of order, but
yeah, I was saying if you want to go back to the match card, but yeah.
That was just them trying to be as close to porn as they could get away with on cable TV, or however pay-per-views were done. But just even if I wasn't woke, I think I would be uncomfortable watching that.
Yeah, there were things in the Attitude Era that don't age well and weren't the best when they happened.
Yeah.
Like the running storyline of the night between Triple H, Kurt Angle, and Stephanie about Kurt Angle kissing Stephanie McMahon when she was almost unconscious. And,
yeah.
But then she started to kiss back, and she might have liked it. And it's easy to slam WWF, WWE. But the thing is, you can't get too hard on for this, because that's kind of what happened a lot of the time in TV and movies. And
I guess.
it's a good thing we've moved away from that.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not.
So, it was hard. Like, Rock was the face, but, I can't boo Triple H too much, because, and you can't be like, oh, you still something the Angle, but, he did kind of sexually assault Stephanie.
Yeah.
So, anyway, do you want to go match by match, or go all over the place?
We could start going by match. That is one thing I noticed during all these older pay-per-views is the matches are a lot shorter. So the cards are typically longer, and this card, just thinking about it now, when you said you want to go match by match, this was a very stacked card.
Oh yeah, well SummerSlam is their second biggest thing. So the first one was the 6-man tag match between the Right to Censor with Bull Buchanan, the Good Father, and Steven Richards, fighting Too Cool with Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty and Rikishi.
Okay, so I just want to say this. I mean this in the best way possible. A group deciding that they're gonna stop the evils of wrestling by wrestling is so stupid, and I love it. This is great, and this is a great moment when I was watching Steven Universe, and they did a wrestling episode, and they basically referenced this, and it was fun. But all I can say about this one is it was a really good match, and talking about recently, when you want to be a professional wrestler, you have to sell as good as you wrestle. What was that one guy? Steven Richards. There's the one bit where he's in the corner and he gets slammed
by Rikishi.
And
his big old butt.
His big old butt. And he just drops like a sack of freaking potatoes.
He died.
Is that man still alive? Is there a body in the ring right now?
Well,
but other than that, there's not much to say. I think that you said this was the pre-show before pre-shows were a thing.
Well, this was on the card. But the thing is, they talked about Sunday Night Heat. Sunday Night Heat used to be the B show. It was Raw was Monday, Heat was Sunday. Okay. But since pay-per-views were on Sunday, they would use Heat, basically what the format of the pre-show is now. Okay. They would have matches and would continue storylines that were going throughout the thing, throughout the shows. But they would also like do the bumpers and the
the
hype
analysis
packages and stuff. So they didn't really do the analysis as much, but they would talk about what's going to happen in the pay-per-view. So it was. Yeah, like then they made SmackDown and Heat became like the C show and then just disappeared. I was a little sad by that. I liked Heat. But do you want to know the story behind the right to censor?
Okay.
The real life story. This isn't the kayfabe story. I can't remember, but I remember when it happened because this is when I was way into it. So I remember a lot of this stuff. This is personal stuff, but. There was the Parent Teachers Council.
Oh, yeah.
Hated WWF. So Vince, being the petty bastard he is, made the right to censor, which is why the RTC, to poke fun at them.
Okay.
And the evils of the WWF.
Yeah.
Gee, that sounds familiar right now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Topical.
Yeah. And then singles match, X-Pac versus Road Dogg for, like... It was one of those things where it just built up for, like, they were just having misunderstandings, and they just had a match to try to be, hey, who's the best? And it was a good damn match!
It was a really fun match, and this goes back to another thing we talked about while we were watching. It's like, this is more what I'm used to. The pay-per-views are, the climax of all the building storylines, Okay, this thing with X-Pac and Road Dogg have been brewing a while, and... It reached, or at least an end of a chapter, if not the whole thing. But, like I said, most of these matches were short, and all I can really think to say, since I don't have a lot of context for a lot of them, is it was good. It was fun.
And Road Dogg had the 69 on his jersey because of the 90s. But, yeah, it really should, like, I do hate the term X-Pac heat, where people wanted to boo X-Pac just for him to go away, because he was really talented. Like, there's the reason why for a while, he was, like, the measuring stick of how good someone could be. Yeah. Like, if you couldn't have a good match with X-Pac, you're not going to have a good match.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just really funny, like, going back and watching him and, like, Too Cool and seeing, like, the stuff, like, all the flips and kicks and all the stuff they're doing then was, like, so innovative is now the standard.
Yeah, I guess, I didn't even really think about that. So that's just what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah. And then... something we need to bring back. The intergender tag team match.
I loved this match so much, not only because it was intergender, but it was genuinely good.
And for the Intercontinental title. Yes. Eddie Guerrero and Chyna, both of them need rest in peace for both of them.
Yes.
Versus Val Venus and Trish Stratus. And, like... fuck everyone saying... fuck Mattel, mostly. For saying, we don't want men fighting women, it looks bad. No, when done right, it was amazing. And Chyna, of course, Chyna just looked like she could beat the shit out of anybody.
Oh, yeah.
She held her own. She deserved that title.
Yeah, she did, but I knew who Chyna was, because she was one of the ones where she started showing up and everywhere. Like, she was on Third Rock from the Sun for a while. But this is my first time I've seen her, like, wrestle outside of clips on, like, when you're watching Brian Zane or Cultaholic. And it's like, she clotheslines Val Venus, and you fucking felt that.
Yeah, she hit
was badass, okay? And this is my first time seeing Eddie Guerrero in a match. It's my first time hearing his voice, I think.
Hey, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Literally the first thing he says when Eddie Guerrero shows up.
But, yeah, again, this told a story, too. Like, the build-up is like, okay, these two are... Eddie and Chyna are dating, and whoever wins this... whoever gets the pin is going to get the title. And they... so, I want... you could get the title, babe. No, you could get the title, babe. But they meant it. There was no betrayal or anything.
They had a very good love story.
Chyna won the belt, Woman Intercontinental Championship. Awesome. And Eddie put it on her. That was great.
Yeah. And lifted her up, I think. Or at least tried to.
Yeah, but either way, it was a short, sweet match, and Chyna kicked ass.
Yeah.
I wasn't into wrestling at the time. I think she passed right before I got into it, but I miss her.
Yeah.
She was great.
And and you see why Eddie inspired so many people.
Oh, yeah.
God, I miss Eddie. Eddie was great.
Yeah, he and
Chyna are one of the best Attitude Era stories ever.
And it's just like one of those things, like, okay, this is my first time seeing this person, and I get it. I get why they were a thing.
And it's funny because this is where Trish was just starting to be a wrestler. She was still just mostly a valet. So they're like, oh, she's inexperienced. Oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. It's like, just watching that, and you know, when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, she's not that good. And that's part of the Triple H 70 thing, was he was trying to show her how to do the hold, and he was had her, you know, bent over and stuff like that. But like, no, like, watching it now and knowing what she's going to become, it's just really fascinating.
I've seen a few Trish Stratus. Why is that so hard to say? But I've seen her when she's like come back for Evolution or her match with Charlotte on that one pay-per-view, and she's good.
Oh my god!
She's rightfully has earned her reputation as one of the best
eventually
female
we will get
wrestlers.
To a pay-per-view that has her versus Lita, and it will be
I'm
fucking
looking forward
amazing.
to that.
They were just wow.
Yeah.
You know, you want to talk about good women's wrestling? Aha! Singles match: Jerry Lawler versus Taz.
Okay, so I know Taz is an announcer, and I was during this hype package they were showing, and it's like, okay, so I asked, did Taz like hurt himself, and that's why he had to be an announcer? And you explained to me, no, Vince McMahon thought he couldn't be tough because he was so short, so they made him an announcer. And again, if you've seen this pay-per-view, you know exactly what hype package I'm talking about. I'm like, what?
You've seen Taz. This is why ECW fans were so upset when he came in really strong. Like I said, he was the first person to defeat Kurt Angle in WWF. Yeah. So he's like, all right, cool. And then like I think he had that match with the Acolytes where they knocked him down, and then like he started to slip down, and then he took over. It was part of this. He just took over as announcer for a while, just because I think he beat the shit out of Lawler. Yeah. But then they just kept him that because he was good, and he's entertaining. But like, man, like he was the first human suplex machine, and I don't care if he's small, he could beat the hell out of these people.
He was fucking scary.
I could believe he could beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and this is the funny thing for me is like, I've seen Jerry the King Lawler come back in modern WWE. I've seen him do commentary, like you saw the Punishment video where he was, and it's just like during this pay-per-view we're watching, it's like I just randomly remembered, Jerry used to be a wrestler, didn't he?
Yes.
That's weird. I don't know if I can process that. Smash cut to a few minutes later. I somehow missed that Taz's match was against Jerry. ADD brain, I guess. But the fact that it basically started, Taz was in JR's face. Jerry, the King Lawler, went up to Taz, punched him in the face, and then just ripped off his announce clothes like a freaking superhero. And then the match begun. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then what surprised me even more, he was really good.
Yeah.
He was like a little slow because he was like a little out of shape, probably a little older, but he did a drop kick, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
There's a reason he was king of Memphis wrestling for a while. And I love JR getting involved with the Chekhov's candy jar.
Chekhov's candy jar, that was good too.
And I love the way they played it. Like afterwards, like, my hand's bleeding. I don't know why. Like, whatever your hand, JR. Well, I think this is their first exposure to JR and the King as a team.
Oh, yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
What did you think of them? Cause
the only real thing is like they kind of sound alike if you're not used to it. So I had a hard time like. That might be because I'm used to the modern SmackDown and Raw teams where everyone sounds very different. So even if I don't know who's talking, I can figure out who's talking. So I don't remember it ever being a problem, but just every once in a while I'd hear someone say, "Hey JR," or "Hey, hey Jerry." I'm like, "Oh, okay, so that's the other person talking."
But
they had good chemistry.
Yeah, like you can tell, like they went back and forth, but like in kayfabe, in just reality, they are good friends, and like you can see that they have great chemistry, and I'm sure McMahon was in the headset every once in a while, but you can tell like they're not being force-fed lines. Jerry said hospital quite a bit.
You don't say that, damn it.
And then he went to medical facilities, so. And here's why he would say that. The next match was the hardcore title match between Steve Blackman and the best in the world, Shane McMahon, who was the hardcore champion.
Okay, I don't have much context other than this was fun. Blackman?
Steve Blackman.
I don't know why I keep saying Black Moon, but Blackman. He looks like I said this in one of our other pay-per-views, they just like pulled him out of a superhero comic, gave him some kendo stick and said, "Beat up my son."
Yeah.
And he's like,
and he did.
Okay.
And this is where we see Shane on the journey to become the greatest, but he wasn't at the time. He was just the punk. That's why Test and Albert helped him
I was going to say, it's okay, say what you want to Shane. There was a story here. Like he got his ass handed to him, but then he had his two cronies show up, and he started acting brave. And then that final spot.
The spot, everyone, this is the start of him falling off very tall things.
And then just Black Moon's like, well, I better nick it from Momo. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, wham! But yeah, like, and you know, like we talked about here, like, Steve Blackman is the perfect example of, like, yeah, he was a lower mid-card guy, but the Attitude Era made everyone feel like they had a purpose, and he did
it's like,
too. Like
this dude was a freaking murderer.
He was.
There's no other way.
He would murder you.
Yeah, he just immediately grabs a track. Like, there was like some backstage interview segments just leading up to this. You know, Shane's about to say something, and suddenly Black Moon just walks in, and Shane just takes off running.
Just
hey, Shane, gotta go.
With the fucking trash can and the sticks pounding. He's like, hey. He's like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's a bounty hunter now.
Which I can freaking believe, because...
I forget what was... I think it was Cultaholic talking about people doing something backstage, and someone wanted to prank him. Yeah. And he's like, yes, I'd like to see that. Yeah. Oh, man.
That person was never seen again.
Yeah. Ooh! Good match, but hard to talk about now. The Chris's... Jericho,
the Canadian Chris's,
and Benoit in a 2 out of 3 falls, and man, like,
great match. 2 out of 3 falls. I liked it was submission. But yeah, it's hard to talk about because
the horrible thing that Benoit did.
Yeah, I was like, I think I heard about this even before I got into wrestling, because I just remember it whenever people Benoit's name would come up, and it's just people would just.
Well, it happened when we lived here, like,
okay,
because I remember, like, he had been out for an injury, and they were promoting that day he was coming back to Raw. I remember my TV in the room there, and then, like, suddenly he wasn't there. Like, well, what happened? And then we found out. But, like, you know, it's really hard because he was really good.
Yeah.
Like, that was a really good... Like, I remember that feud. I remember, like, the hype package had Chris Jericho doing the, like, I will fight him, and then, like, I remember that moment watching that. This is why Jericho is still around.
Yeah. There's a reason Jericho's a legend.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll
he
give
was
you
a
that.
goat.
And I've seen bits and pieces of him before this, and even if it's just him backstage being a goober, like at one of the Raw reunions, like I gotta put Elias on the list!
Yeah.
And his stupid scarf, too!
Yeah, so...
But yeah, it was a great, short match, but, you know, just hindsight.
Yeah. Now, the one that brought us here, the first ever tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my! Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys beat the holy hell out of each other for the tag team titles.
My takeaway from here is, how is Jeff Hardy still alive?
Yeah.
You know, Matt Hardy to a lesser extent, but I can bear no anger, or I can throw no shade toward Jeff for getting hooked on booze and painkillers, because how else was he going to survive?
Yeah, it is...
Dear God! The fact that he still does stuff almost as crazy today.
Like, it's amazing he is still alive. Like, he... Off the ladder through the tables.
Yeah.
Bubba Ray...
really tall.
Bubba Ray going through 3 of the 4 tables.
Yeah.
But he did not move. But, like, this is why this match caught on. I remember... I didn't get to watch...
it was just beautiful chaos.
Yeah,
it was
I didn't
great.
get to
it was
watch
entertaining.
This match, because I didn't get pay-per-views at the time, but again, I remember the build. You know, the Dudley Boys would always use the tables, and since the ladder match with Edge and Christian and the Hardys have been linked to ladders. They had to come up with Edge and Christian using chairs a lot, so they came with a concerto, where, again, hindsight, but they would smack people in the head with, you know, double chairs.
And speaking of Benoit.
Yeah, so that became their thing, and that's why Mick Foley decided, you're going to have all 3 of your all things in one match.
Tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my!
And, like, it was just match of the fucking evening on that
Yeah, it was
one.
great.
Like, Jesus. Like,
and
actually
this is my first. This is my first. Diva, get the tables. My first time seeing the. Well, probably all 3 of these teams in an actual match, but I'm used to. I've seen Jeff and Matt. I've seen Edge now, but yeah, there's a reason why these guys are freaking legends.
Oh yeah,
Holy
like
crap.
this. You know, this. Like I said, there's a reason.
I have distinct memories when it was announced that the Dudley Boys were going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame, whatever year it was. I was like, okay, I have no idea who these people are. 10 seconds into that hype package, I'm like, yes, why weren't they already there?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because they were in TNA for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, you can see why now I got really addicted to wrestling at the time.
Yeah.
Like, not only that, Steve Austin and The Rock and all those guys,
Yeah.
but the lower card guys, Edge, like, Edge is one of the ones that first grabbed my attention.
Yeah.
And, like, I just loved seeing his progression. And this was one of those matches, like, yeah, this is why.
Yeah.
Even when he speared Lita,
Yeah.
just kind of funny what happens later on there, but...
Now, he speared Lita a lot.
yeah. But yeah, like God, like I wish I took notes to talk more, but like it's hard to keep up. Like I love Matt and Devon hanging off the tiles and kicking each other until Edge and Chris just poked them off. Like God.
And I'm thinking when they were doing it, I was thinking, okay, what if they both fall and they each have a title? Do they have to form a new tag team? So yeah, that was just. This is a match of like, why do people get into wrestling? This
is one of the ones I show you. Why do you like this stuff? Here, watch this. Don't watch the other one we've already talked about, the Cat versus Terry and
that was
lingerie.
Like, I like deliberately checked out of that.
Yeah, this was why
I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. I'm pulling out my phone.
This is why women's wrestling used to be called the piss break match. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I did like they had Al Snow and Perry Saturn there, and Al Snow used threw a head to Cat for so he could win, but like, this
was just softcore porn.
This
is all this was.
I'm old enough to admit this was gross.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we got away from this and we have actual fucking.
As stated, there's a way to be sexy and have awesome wrestling because China's a fucking goddess. Yeah. Okay,
she was in Playboy.
Yeah,
and deservedly so.
Yeah, and she beat the shit out of that guy.
All right, and well, I guess what became a no disqualification match was Kane versus The Undertaker.
Yeah, technically that match never started.
Yeah, and this was where they were starting to like humanize Kane more. You saw him talk. We saw the full mask, but he came out with like the more skin exposed, and you know this was one of the early days I think of Biker Taker. Maybe been weird, but like they definitely changed his theme in the network to his. Dead Man theme, because I remember him still having the American Badass thing. That's why someone had the sign that said American Badass, but they didn't want to pay Kid Rock the rights anymore, I guess, and they just used their own theme. I mean, it's a good theme. It's just like, wait a minute, this didn't exist then.
And, you know, again, what I've been saying for the entirety of this video, pretty much, short but great match. Yeah. Tell me what you said about the Kane's mask and the being split open.
Oh, yeah, like, what became the crux of this match was Undertaker trying to rip off Kane's mask. Yeah. And, again, they were teasing that a lot, but it wouldn't happen until, like, 2 more years before he finally got unmasked. Yeah. But, like, early on, like, Undertaker just, like, rips part of the mask off, and then, like, somewhere along the line, Kane got hit with, he tried to hit the Undertaker with the stairs, they bounced back and hit him and split him open, and there's one moment where I'm saying, like, oh, well, you know, Kane doesn't have that much of his mask. Oh, wait, that's his blood. Yeah. Because, like, perfect color to the mask, so it looked like it had more mask, and it's like, oh, no, he's just bleeding. Damn. Yeah.
And I do want to say, like, they did a really good job of, even when the mask was completely off, we maybe got the briefest of brief glimpses of his face. Like, he still had the long hair. I don't know if this was a wig at this point or his hair was really that long.
Yeah, I don't know when it
But, they always made it so it was perfectly, so his hair was covering his face, there's always something blocking it. Yeah. So that's, if nothing else, you go, A+ on the camera work there.
Yeah. I think I remember Ross talking about that somewhere. Like, he was a little kid watching that, and, like, he was trying to look, but also be terrified to see, you know, the disfigured face that we thought at the time. But yeah, so. Yeah. And then that brings us to the main event, the triple threat match for the WF title between The Rock, Triple H, and Kurt Angle. And they're very weird. Like, The Rock felt third banana.
Well, yeah, this is going to be my thing. We talked about in the last video how, like, you know, considering The Undertaker, we know him as this big phenomenon, the Phenom, and his debut was very low-key. He's like, even before I even entertained the idea of wrestling, I knew who The Rock was, okay? He was everywhere. My best real-life friend in high school, she was in love with The Rock. I knew who he was. So knowing who Dwayne Johnson is as a person, knowing his enough about him as a wrestler to know he was this big, larger-than-life personality, he's barely in it. Yeah. He doesn't show up until the match itself. He doesn't cut any promos. I mean, don't get me wrong, the match was great. It was easy to see why everyone involved became as big as they did, especially The Rock. But it's just like, we didn't hear any one-liners. He didn't tell Stephanie to know her role or anything like that. Great match, but it's just like, huh. And this was my first Rock match, too. So I'm like, huh. I mean, it was not complaining necessarily, just, expected more.
Yeah, it is when they really wanted to push this weird Kurt, Triple H, Stephanie love triangle thing, again, which is very problematic. But yeah, I think, I've heard the story that when Triple H went to pedigree Kurt on the table, it fell before they could do the pedigree.
Yeah.
So that's why he was not, it became like this one-on-one no disqualification match for a while. I guess he wasn't hurt as I thought I read, because he did come back and play a part into it.
Yeah.
The hammer.
And there was some good storytelling to be had.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like, I mean, just... And like I said, this is The Rock was the big star at the time. So, but this is around we started... I don't know, I think this was right around the time where he was in The Mummy Returns. But yeah, like, you know... Like I said, it's weird to go back and watch it when they all have hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, they put on, like, Rock and Triple H is one of those things where, like, they met so many times, but again, like, the Attitude Era had a way of spacing out where it didn't feel, like, tired like it is now. Like, things were varied up enough, but they worked well together. You wanted to see them fight.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd be down to watch more Triple H versus Rock.
Oh, yeah, they have a lot of
really
stuff.
good.
Like, you want to talk about, like, seeing them early. Like, you'll watch them, like, they're part of, like, DX and the Nation of Domination. They're fighting for the IC title, like, when they're really coming up. Like, that was good, too.
Yeah.
And that was our rambling about SummerSlam 2000.
My favorite of the classic pay-per-views we've watched so far, A+, A-, somewhere in the A's, I guess.
I would say A+.
Yeah, it was really good, a lot of fun.
It's just always interesting now to go back and watch, just, if nothing else, the aesthetics of the time. Like, the industrial metal aesthetics they had. Okay, by the way, that logo for SummerSlam... always reminded me of the Sprite logo they used at the time. That's why it looks
kind of familiar.
But then they changed it in, like, the mid-2000s, and it looked like Slade's logo from Teen Titans. So it always threw me off. It was either, like, the Sprite logo or Slade's logo. And then, I'm glad we got rid of the even Lawler pointed that out. I was like, I keep hearing someone knocking at the door. I was like, oh, no, it's just those graphics.
And the whip crack.
Yeah. So I'm glad we got rid of that. It's just, we're so used to the LED screens and stuff now. Like the ring looks kind of bare without the big pillars with flashing lights on it. So, and the black ropes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are our thoughts on the very first TLC match. You can see why it became a thing that like, let's make it a pay-per-view.
Let's make it a pay-per-view. This is how we're gonna blow out the year, damn it.
Yeah. It's when it's done right, it definitely does blow out the year. And I think that's a good segue into saying 2020 has been a dumpster fire.
Yes.
I'll be glad when it's over. You'll be seeing this probably on the last day of 2020. I know we only have about 11 people subscribing and maybe about that watch, but I hope we have been able to bring some joy to you.
I hope you get some entertainment.
Terrible time.
Yeah.
Here's hoping 2021 will be much better.
Fingers crossed.
And we'll be back for the next pay-per-view and whatever else we feel like doing.
Royal Rumble!
Hell yeah!
All right, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.